Hi, Tina.
Hi, Ashley.
Here we are.
Here we are.
I'm slightly terrified.
Why?
I don't know. This is all your idea topic, but I kind of had a feeling it was coming because we're probably due to talk about this.
Yes, well, I think it's very important to talk about dating right now, meaning through COVID, after COVID, also being older, also
Easy,
dating
Tiger.
in digital. Well, I'm talking for myself, and I'm talking dating online dating. I'm talking dating how you meet people in person. My experiences as a cis female 53,
Uh huh.
right? And
Yeah.
your experiences. And I think that there's some juicy stories to go
Lesbian.
around. Yay,
Oh boy.
lesbian.
Yeah, and just
Mm-hmm.
having done work on myself, I know you've done a lot of work on yourself as well. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
went through a divorce, I went through some painful breakups, and
Yes.
we've been doing some work, and it's you don't really get a chance to practice, what you've been learning until you get back into a relationship. So I feel
Oh,
that
for
coming.
sure. Well,
So
and
it's
that
good that
also
we're having this
goes.
conversation, actually.
Yes, and it also goes for friendships too, right?
Yeah.
Because I think we forgot that communicating, no matter what relationship you're in, is still so important,
Yeah.
is learning to communicate. It's just that when we get overwhelmed with like feelings and like, that thing kicks in and we're like, oh my God, so hot. I can't think straight. It's amazing. And then we forget all the things that we learned and we
Right.
forget sometimes how to communicate, right?
Right.
But I also think it's really important. I know so many gals and guys and people who literally are just so over those dating apps and so over online. And it is so
Totally.
frustrating and it's disheartening, right? And so it's like, how do you keep getting back out there? My intuitive advice is it is so important. It's not that you have to meet people on the apps, it's the energy that you're putting out that you're open to dating,
Mm-hmm. But I've
right?
also heard that if you're on those apps and you're just going no, 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 no because you're not seeing anybody, that it can be like the wrong kind of energy you're sending out into the universe. How do you feel
Well,
about that?
I feel that it just depends on how you're doing it. If you're doing it going, ew, yuck, no, yes, then that's what you're saying. But if you're like, no, I've dated your kind before. No, no, I want something different. It just
Okay.
depends on how you're
Fair enough.
scrolling through it, right? Because
Yeah.
listen, if you think about it, I'm 53. I've been dating online since I'm in my 30s. I mean, I was
Yeah.
married for
Yeah.
a little bit there, but mostly my whole adult life, I've only ever dated online. And
Really.
so,
You
yes,
never went to
because
bars or anything back
I
when you
did in my
drank and
20s,
yeah.
but in my 30s, online dating was it. That's how
Yeah.
you met people,
Yeah.
right? And so I've gotten so used to, I have a list of things that I go down where I will never meet you in person unless we have video chatted first. That's a
Yeah.
safety thing.
Yeah.
And also, women tend to fib about weight and age, and men
Yes,
tend
they
to fib
do.
about see, and men tend to fib about age, height, and sometimes weight and hair.
That's so
And
funny.
in
Hair.
my experience, when I first came here into Abruzzo and I went on a date, this gentleman, literally, I kid you not, was wearing a baseball cap, sunglasses, and a mask, and did not take it off during the whole date. Other than when he went to eat, he pulled down the mask and was drinking and eating. He was much heavier. That I was okay with. But dude, I
That's
can't,
so
what?
bizarre.
It was so bizarre. And then another time I went out with a guy and there just wasn't any connection. And whether it was a mistake or not, afterwards, when he texted me, I just wanted to kindly say, hey, I just don't think we were a match, blah, 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 blah. And that he didn't take that very well. And
Yeah.
I got a slew of emails of, no wonder your husband left you. You're so rude. You're such an asshole. He said, you're a dickhead, is what he called me. And I
Oh.
was like, huh, interesting. Well, thank God
Yeah.
I didn't go on with that.
Right.
Right. But it's hard not to go, ugh. I'm
Yeah.
so sick of this kind of stuff, right? But it's like,
Yeah.
get up, dust yourself off, take a breather, pause it for a minute or two, but don't do it forever because we have to get ourselves out there in front of people somehow, some way. They're not just gonna come to us.
Right. I get it.
So
It
what are
is
you
difficult to
doing?
tell. Well, it's difficult to tell the energy of people and like what they're really about just from photos. And even if they put a
Mm-hmm.
few things, they'll list a few things. Like I love it when people take the time to write some things out because you get a little bit of feel for their personality at least. And
Yes. And
that's
when
important.
well, when those people write it out, what I've been seeing is no animals in the
Right.
bed. People who are, I saw the other day, people who are politically on the left need help and don't bother texting me. And you're just
Well,
like,
that makes it
okay,
easier, right? Nope, nope, nope. But I mean, and people that
totally.
start with the negatives, of
Of
like, you
course.
can tell what they just went through in their last relationship. It's like, oh, girl, I know where you just been. But yeah, no, it's just like starting with such a negative energy. I feel like, it's
Yes.
it's better to put, here's what I love to do. Here's what I like to do on my days off. Here's what I don't know.
Yes. Well,
Or
how are
something
you
funny.
meeting? How are you trying to meet people?
Well, I do look at the apps. I honestly don't find that I have much luck on the apps because I can't get enough of a sense of somebody I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of people on the apps that I've felt
Well,
like
is there a
pursuing.
question when you say a sense of somebody, are you talking about like their personality, their disposition, their
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
Because
Well,
I can't look at a photo of someone and tell if I'm attracted to them or not. Like, even if they're beautiful, it's like, I have no idea what you're all about. So yeah, it does take a little bit of diving in and the banter, I guess, and going back and forth with them. But ugh, I get
do
exhausted
you
from that
have
too. I'd
a
rather meet
heavy
somebody in
list?
person.
Yeah, of course, but do you have a heavy list of the non what is that called? Non negotiables?
Negotiables, a heavy
Yes.
list.
Well, so there
I
are
have a
lots of women
list.
I know that, lots of people I know that he must be a certain height. He must have a certain income. He must be able to deal with A, B, C, and D. So I just think it's so important that we don't cut a bunch of people off because we assume they can't handle certain things. And then we may be letting someone great pass us by.
I agree with that too. And I don't have a specific, I know what I am attracted to physically when it shows up, but it's not a non-negotiable for me because I have
Uh-huh.
fallen for people before that I didn't in the beginning. But I would say, pretty quickly and you do have a sense that you're kind of attracted to them in the beginning and then you're just sort of
Mm-hmm.
waiting to feel it out for me anyway. I've never
Mm-hmm.
started with somebody just as friends and had zero chemistry and it evolved
Mm-hmm.
into something that has chemistry ever.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's your gut and your intuition telling you, this is going to be a friendship when that
Mm-hmm.
happens. And so, you know,
Well,
it
my
takes some
non-negotiables
time.
are smoking. Like I don't want to
I
be
didn't
with a
answer your
smoker.
question, did I?
Yes, you didn't. My
Sorry.
non-negotiables are smoking, heavy drinkers.
Right.
In Italy, on a lot of the sites, it is maybe it's a culture thing, and I don't know, but a lot of men in their 60s, right? Their hobbies are clubbing
Yeah.
and
Clubbing.
parties and that, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, I'm good. I don't have any desire to go to a club in my 60s or 50s, right? And
Right. Me
so
neither.
that for me is I'm not going to fall in love with someone's potential, what I think I can make them
Right.
into. I'm going to fall in love or in like or in whatever attraction to the energy and the vibe that I'm getting. And so I try to go off of, well, kind of easier for me because I can just sort of go, oh, intuition,
Uh huh.
energy, whatever it
Not
is,
fair.
right? I know, not there, but I think it's so important for everyone to know what it is they're looking for. Because I can be totally honest, I don't read half of that stuff if I look at the picture and I'm not attracted, which
Right.
is
Well, but
something that I got to
yeah.
work on.
Well, but you have to have a little bit of like, okay, I could see sleeping with this person one day or kissing this person. If you look at the
Uh-huh.
person and you don't have a little
Yeah.
bit of like, then it's not a romantic interest, right? It's a
Uh-huh.
friendship, maybe.
Yes. So wait, you didn't answer my other two is what is your type?
Well,
I
at this
want
point,
physical
you want
first, and then
physical?
I want physical first, and then I want
Oh,
emotional.
well, I'm attracted to pretty women. They tend to be blondes
Hmm.
that are very strong, that are like very, and they can take all kinds of different shapes and sizes, but I like someone who's very committed to her, what she stands for, and just very
Her personal
passionate
growth and her, yes. And
about
you want someone who's fit.
creatively. Like I'm very attracted to creatives
Mm-hmm.
that are passionate about whatever. I always have been.
Mm-hmm.
I want somebody to be fit because I take care to keep myself fit. So I think,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to be necessary if you're going to go horseback riding with me, hiking with me, biking, travel the world, hopefully all those things that I love doing that I would love to have in a partner. I want
Mm-hmm.
somebody that can do it with me.
And do you want someone who is, there's a method to my madness right now because
Okay.
we're manifesting. Do you want someone who is going to be your partner financially? Like you want to even?
Um,
Somebody who can, or someone who makes more, but meaning like you
they
want
have to
someone
at
who's going to
least be
be able to
even, I
take care of
think,
themselves.
because
Okay.
I don't want to take care of anybody. I've been there many
Mm-hmm.
times and I learned
Mm-hmm.
lessons that were painful by going that route.
Mm-hmm.
So I want somebody who is going to take care of themselves and we come in as partners. I don't need
Yeah.
somebody to come in and financially take care of me either. I think we both should stand on our own ground,
Yeah.
but eventually, that'll all probably merge, but you need to know that somebody is sound.
Totally. But in the last, so I want to ask you because I'm sorry, I'm putting you in the hot seat again.
No,
Or
it's
the last
okay.
time you said in the frying pan.
Yeah,
So you're going in the pan and I'll put some
great.
non-stick spray. Um,
Jerk.
sorry.
Oil.
But when is the last time you have felt, and I'm not talking about personal friendships,
Hmm.
I'm talking about in a relationship. When was the last time you were able to receive kindness without feeling there was or love, unconditional love, without feeling like you had to reciprocate? And just so many of us say we want someone who's love us, who's into us, who compliments us all the time. And what I've learned in my own personal experiences, sometimes that's too much for me, and then sometimes I feel
Hmm.
like, oh my god, I'm gonna have to match this, I'm gonna owe somebody, blah blah, what do they want from this, like what's your angle? So for you, when is the last time you think you've been able to just receive love and not feel like you have to give something back?
In a romantic relationship, or if
Mm-hmm.
oh God, it's probably been 15 years. I've dated so many people since then that I've felt the balance was so off, and it did feel like um, I was performing to get their
So
love or
you were,
buying them things or paying for things
so
and that's why
basically
I'm
you,
averse to that now.
yes. Well, and think about this so that we can learn from it, because I'm guilty of this as well, is we are givers and then therefore you attract takers. And then eventually we might get mad at the taker because they're just taking, but the fact is we set them up for just taking, right? Because all we ever did was give, and we did nice things, we bought nice things, and then they did. And then sometimes when people give us too much, it's like, oh my god, no, you don't have to, please don't do that, like don't buy me that stuff, or I don't need. And then what we've realized, like in my marriage, Marco used to compliment me and he used to say things. And now I think it's so romantic. And I was silly at the time, but he'd say, I want to breathe your oxygen. I want to stay. And I'm like, who talks like that? Like, because
Yeah,
I was like, ew, like stop. And then he never complimented me again. And that was
right.
one of the biggest complaints in my marriage,
Yeah,
right? Is that
yeah,
he would never compliment me at the end. And that's because in the beginning, I shot him down every time,
yeah. Yeah, I
So
get that,
how would you
but I
do it
think
differently? Sorry, but you think what?
no, I was going to say on this whole journey of growing and learning and evolving, why I behave the way I do and why I always sought control in relationships, because that's really what it was. Financial stability to me was control over somebody else. It was like, I always
Oh
know that I'm going to
yeah.
be okay. I always know that, and that's what eventually I sort of had to look at and learn. Because growing up, and not to put blame on parents or anybody, but when you're put in that position of taking care of other kids, or you're put into the position of having to be an adult as a child, which I was, which you were,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Yes.
then we've learned that that means that our needs were overlooked, and therefore there were no boundaries, right? We
Yeah,
didn't
yeah,
know,
yeah.
we had no boundaries with that. So then therefore, you know, when we meet people out in the world who don't respect our boundaries, and maybe they pull away from us emotionally, that just feels normal. So
Totally.
you know, that's been a very recent eye-opening experience for me of like, oh fuck, you know, like
Right.
I've been in all these things that felt normal for all the right reasons, I guess, but aren't healthy.
No, because it's
So,
familiarity, right? And so
right,
it's like, oh, that triggers something. Oh, that feels normal. Okay, I must be doing this, something right because it feels normal. And it's
right.
just that our normal isn't as healthy as we would like it to be,
And you don't
right?
know. You know, you're going through life doing
Mm-mm.
what you're doing, and the people you're in relationship with obviously have something that they're also working out. And so here
Yes.
we are.
Yes. Wait,
And
I want to give you, because I think between this heavy conversation, I think we should each come up every time we do a thing is a situation, a funny nightmarish date story. I was thinking last
uh-huh.
night when I was in my 20s and I first moved to LA. And because I didn't date boys in high school. I wasn't the cutest thing, and I had dark hair living in Newport Beach. No one, I
Oh,
blossomed in my 30s, right?
you weren't
So
exotic.
no,
I
not
would have
even
think they'd call you
close.
exotic.
Oh no, no, no. To them, I was like the housekeeper's kid.
Oh,
And no, seriously, it's like like
huh.
no one wanted. I
Uh-huh.
was not. So I went to school and at LACC, and all of a sudden, different cultures, different men. I was like, wait, people find me attractive? Like,
Mm-hmm.
this is
Mm-hmm.
amazing.
Uh-huh.
And I went out with this guy, and now that I'm older, I've been thinking of this a lot lately. He said he wanted to take me to San Francisco. So
Mm-hmm.
I packed all my stuff. I think it was like maybe 24, and he was older, like 35 or something. And we go to the airport and we get in line and we're waiting in lines, and he has me stand back, and he's like, oh, you wait back there and I'll go figure it all out. We go figure it out. And he basically says that they don't have his reservations or whatever. So we may as well just go home, and I should spend the night at his house for the weekend.
Uh-huh.
And like a
Uh-huh.
dum dum, I did. But now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking about it as I'm older, that was a whole big game for me
Uh-huh.
to, what the heck?
People are
Like the
creative, aren't they?
my goodness, the things that we have all been through dating, but
Yeah.
the things when you look back, like I've been thinking, I'm like, that was a setup,
Yeah.
right? And so
Sounds like it.
totally. So
Yeah.
I learned now, you like learn to weed through quicker. But what I'm finding out now is it's so shocking to me what people are willing to do or lie about or not say. So like it's like, dude, if you send me a pic and it's 10 years old, I'm eventually going to meet
Right.
you.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think is gonna like what? And I understand, like, men. A guy I went out when I was talking to a couple weeks ago, he lied about 10 years, and he goes, "Oh well, someone told me to lie for 10 years because you would never find a woman because they put in age things."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, but then somewhere in your bio, you should write, hey, and by the way,
Yeah.
I'm this many. So I don't get agitated as long as they're upfront in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. They should
So
be.
I've learned to go down a list of questions very quickly.
And their pictures could still be accurate. Because, you know, the
Totally.
last time I've accepted any online dates was when I was in Los Angeles a few years ago. And one of them I showed up for, the woman was married and didn't tell me until we got there. And we had already been chatting back
Oh.
and forth for like weeks. And I'm like, she waited until we were in person to tell me that. And I was so angry. And then I
Oh yeah,
felt
I would be angry
trapped.
too.
I was
Yes.
angry. And then the other two that I went, one of them did not look like her photos at all. She was clearly, yeah, about 10 years older. And I was like, my God, not that she's not a lovely person, but that doesn't work for me. I already feel like I've been
Mm-hmm.
lied to right up front, you know?
Yes.
And then the next one
Totally.
was just, she was very professional and put together in her profile, an attorney, and, you know, seemed to do well for herself, lived in this house, blah blah. Then we get there in person. She's cussing like a sailor. Not that I mind a little bit here and there, but I mean,
Yeah.
it was out of control. Her energy was just very, I don't know, over the top. And she had 6 roommates. And it just sounded like her place was party central. And I was like, oh, girl,
Oh, yeah,
I ain't
no.
there anymore.
Not today. No,
So
no,
it's like those
no.
are the things that you don't find out until people are
Hmm.
ready to, they think that, oh, maybe if I get them in person, they'll accept this easier.
Because I'll look so good and then we'll have such a connection. So then they'll accept it easier.
Right. Like a friend of mine that I had dinner with this week told me that she is starting online dating, and there's a guy that she's interested in, and they're going to meet hopefully within the next few days. But he told her, he was like, oh, and by the way, some people call me bisexual, and I just want to tell you that up front. I want to know, are you okay with that before we go any further? And I was like,
No,
well, I mean, that, and
no.
it's a different stigma on men too, right? So it's
Yes, but the
like,
only reason I'm going to say no to that is I don't care either way sexually. But the fact is it's bad enough you have to worry about other women. Now I don't want to have to fucking worry about other men. So I don't want to sit there. Not that I'm jealous or anxious, but your head will go to these places of like, oh my god, does he think that guy's cute? Does he think that girl's cute? Does
yes,
he
but
think
I've
that's
dated
like,
bisexual women, and when someone's in a relationship with you, they're in a relationship with you, right? I mean, if you're
I
constantly,
guess.
well, what's the difference in you worrying about a man looking at other women that you're
Uh,
with?
well, because I can,
Because,
in my mind, beautifully like compete and go, oh, I'm cuter, I'm this. I know that that's not right, but I'm just being honest. But
yeah,
in my mind, I don't have anything that that person has. So then, therefore,
right.
I
You
can't.
can't
Do you
compete with
understand?
that.
Yes.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, and I told her, I was like, well, you need to ask what that means. Does that mean that's an itch that needs to be scratched once in a while that he's going to have to take
Yes.
care of? Or is it just, oh, by the way, I've done this in the
Yes.
past
No,
and that
that's a
might come
closed door
up?
for me. Yes.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
closed door for me. But
Anyway, but
then
it's like, this
again,
is all the stuff that comes up, you know,
yes.
that's like, whoa.
Well, and then again, I've been thinking, listen, it has been so long since I have been touched like by a man or anyone because of COVID,
Masseuse?
and even before that. No, well, it's been over 2, 3 years, right? So,
Yeah.
and so I was even thinking like, I would even think about being with a woman just even for companionship and affection and cuddles. Like that's how desperate I've gotten lately, right? Is like I get so disappointed in what's out there sometimes in the male department here that it's like, gosh, is it
But
that bad?
see,
Like, would I go? I know.
that's the shit that drives the lesbians crazy,
I
because everybody
know.
thinks it's easier on the other sside of the fence, and a relationship is still a relationship.
I
And
get it.
these are the women that I've dated, like you, who are like, oh, it must be so much easier. And then you get into it, and then they start looking around again at the men, once they feel comfortable and
Mm,
confident. And so,
okay.
and
Yeah.
that's like, and I fall in love with bisexual women very easily. So it's like that's been my thing to have to fucking overcome too, is the confidence
Hmm.
and the stop the fear of what if this
Is she gonna
person
go back
turns an
to
eye.
or yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
But there are
Yes.
a lot of lesbian couples who have successfully done that, where one has been,
Mm-hmm.
and I've dated men, in my 20s.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, at some
Yeah.
point we were all there because you're curious about trying it, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
totally. Well, and at a certain age, let's be realistic. I just don't want to deal with this shit.
I
Meaning,
don't
like,
either.
I don't want to have to worry if someone's going to go look at other people. I don't want to
No.
have to worry if you're not going to be committed. It's like, here, it is what it is. You get what you get. And the fact is that sometimes, unfortunately, men and women both, and people both literally are just looking for sex and they will say anything to get you there. And then it's just could be so frustrating. And literally I've talked to clients and stuff that will be like, I went on the most incredible date of my life and it was so magical, never heard from the person again.
Yeah.
And these are the reasons why you get
So
afraid to
sad.
go back out there, because it's like you get so excited and you're like, oh
Right.
my god, and the what ifs. And I find it so important to enjoy the process, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the process can be so disheartening and
Yeah.
frustrating and hard, and it's just like I
Totally.
just want to make out and snuggle, like,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
how hard is it to literally just be like, hey, like, very cool, nice, we flow, and I just think people are so afraid right now, and people who have been hurt are just going out there and going F it. And then those of
That could
us
be too.
who, yes, and those of us who can't deal, it's just like, listen, I'm living in a smaller town of 44,000 people, so there's not a ton, but I'm on Bumble, Tinder, forget about it. In Italy, Tinder is like Grinder. And
Yeah,
so
can't do
literally
Tinder.
you can use penis pictures as your profile.
Oh,
And
fabulous.
so, yeah, it's no. And oh, can we
That
please?
would
Maybe
not work
you
for
don't.
me.
Well, I want to know. So
That's
I
an
get,
instant no.
yes, I get D pics all the time.
Uh-huh.
So when you're women, do women ever send booby pics?
Never. It's not a thing. Like
I
people for
know.
proper relationship. If
I
you're
get
looking
it.
for a relationship, no, I've never had a woman do
Uh-huh.
that. I mean, in the early
Yeah.
days when we're like, just it's all about sex, sure, but
Uh-huh.
not, no, that's not a
Yeah.
thing. And I would like to think that as we've matured a little bit and we've gotten to this age, and we've all just gone through COVID, there are people out there like us who just want a relationship and don't, it's not
Yes.
all about sex anymore. There was a time where it
Totally.
was, but,
Yes.
it's just not anymore.
Yeah, and I
I mean,
want to date like,
you want it still. I'm not saying you don't, but
yeah.
it can't occupy, can't be at the
Yeah.
forefront of everything anymore the way it was in
Yeah,
your
and
20s
I
and
don't think I've
30s.
ever, yeah, I don't think I've ever been courted properly.
Oh, I don't think I have either. Maybe once, one
I
girlfriend.
think I've done a lot of the work to get the person to give me the attention I want and need, which then therefore just figured that out. That could be a red flag.
Well, but that
And
goes back to that control we were talking about too, because
mm-hmm.
when you're the one putting things out there and organizing everything, you're in control of what's happening. It's harder to be let down, maybe.
Yes. Oh, for sure.
And you're
Totally.
not waiting for that person to come to you.
Mm-hmm.
You're just trying to jump the gun a little bit, I think.
Yeah. And
Right?
then if you think about it, it's like, well, we can all go like this. So as human beings, myself included, we're guilty of this. It's like, if a guy doesn't text right away, okay, people will say he's not interested. Someone is really busy. Okay. But realistically, we could always find time.
What is right
But
away?
right away, for me, right away is within an hour.
Okay.
For other people it's 10 minutes, 20 minutes, like, so it's funny with like WhatsApp and a lot of things. It's like people get so in their head about,
Hmm.
well, I saw that he checked the message at this time and he hasn't
Right.
responded, but he's been online, and then I went through his Instagram and his Facebook and blah, 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 or their Instagram, their Facebook.
Oof.
For me, I that would give me I would have a nervous
I
breakdown.
would
I
too.
literally, like, lights out, no thank you,
That's
I
the stuff
cannot
that
be
makes you
doing that.
spin. Just spin
Yes.
and obsess. And I've been guilty of those in the past, years ago
Yes.
when you meet somebody and you're so like fixated on the idea of what could be and how beautiful they are. And your
Mm-hmm.
head goes 3 years down the road in the relationship, like in a night.
Well,
And it's
yeah,
so
it's just,
dangerous.
it's not healthy. So like
Right.
Marco and I, when I was with Marco, he was on my social media, and I never looked at his social media because I didn't care, because all he did was post political stuff or like whatever. But other people would say stuff to me that I didn't even notice. And I was like, dude, I don't care. Like, don't,
Mm-hmm.
unless it's something I really need to worry about. Okay, fine. But I didn't want to start off my marriage in a
Right.
habit of controlling his social media and what he does with it.
Right.
And
Right.
I want to see who you are when I'm not telling you anything, and who you're going to show me who you are. And it's not to set someone up, but before I
Right.
start making you guilty and
Mm-hmm.
before
Mm-hmm.
I start attacking you, just so half of the stuff I didn't even care about. Every once in a while, I would joke around when a girl would comment, and I was like, who are you? Who's this bitch? And I would start laughing, ha ha ha. And then Marco would be like, that's my wife. She's just messing with you.
Uh-huh.
Like, that's who she is. Just to sort of play around. But and I never looked at his phone
Slash
either.
pee on your
Yes,
territory.
exactly. Gotta do what you gotta do. But I've learned that Dena, who's not jealous in a relationship, is the better Dena you're gonna get, that's gonna show up in that
Right.
relationship. The Dena
Same.
who you're going to make feel a little anxious, a little whatever. You don't want that Italian, Puerto Rican, Irish Dena coming out because
No.
you listen. I
You
I
don't want the
was
Southern
raised.
girl coming out either.
Yes, and I was raised by a sociopath, and also someone else I won't say, but let me tell you, my covert skills in going through social media, I don't want myself like that,
No. No,
right?
exactly.
And
You don't want that
so
energy on you. You don't. I
no,
don't. I
no,
don't
no,
want to be
no,
with someone who makes me worry. Period.
for sure,
I mean,
for
but that's the
sure.
thing is like how you don't see that in a person up front. It takes getting to know them a little bit to know how they, handle themselves
For
in
them to show you who
situation.
they are.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Totally.
It
If they,
takes a
for me,
minute.
it's important if you show up for the important things, but I also want someone to show up for the little things as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not waiting out of like, ooh, I'm Mr. Perfect is on his way. No, I'm waiting because I was thinking about this last night. I enjoy my own company.
Mhm.
I enjoy, watching TV, doing DIYs, blinging things. So, in order to come in, you're going to have to add to my life because I don't need you to complete my life. And I want
Correct.
to add to your life. So, like, you're going to have to, meaning not have to, but hopefully we're going to do it together and
Right.
not the blinging, but we're going to connect together. We're
No.
going to, yes, well, you never know. Oh yeah, cut to sidebar. When Marco and I would fight, I
Oh
would
Lord.
take my bling gun and I one day on 20 pairs of his jeans, I would just put little little
No, you
little
didn't.
blings everywhere. I swear to
Sparkles.
God on the Bible, I'm a
Shit, Dena.
genius. And so a couple months later, he was like, do you know what this is? And he sent me a video and he
Yeah.
was trying to like get it off. And I was like, he goes, they're everywhere. And I go, you're just now noticing? Like you're just, he goes, yeah. And I go,
It's a
dude,
guy.
I blinked your
It's a
jeans because you
dude.
pissed me off.
That's really
Like,
funny.
what? And so I wouldn't get mad. I would just subtly get even, silent
Right.
revenge. But
Oh,
I
I
never did
know. Yeah.
horrific things. I
Yeah.
just,
It's funny.
planted some bling.
Mm-hmm. Passive aggressive. We call that.
Total. Oh, yes, there we go. But it was beautiful passive aggressive.
Yeah, it's funny.
So I'm going
It's
to tell
really
you
funny.
where I think I went wrong in my marriage because I think it will help other people.
Dude.
I know where I went wrong. Totally my fault in lots of ways. In the very beginning, I'm a runner and a lot of
Mm-hmm.
relationships. The number one thing I would say is I'm out. Like I'm out of here. I'm leaving,
Mm-hmm.
and that is not nice to do to somebody
Mm-hmm.
you're married to. And I did
Right.
it more than once. And so I think what happens is by pushing someone away, I wanted them to prove their love for me by fighting for me
Totally.
and by being like, don't leave, I love you, I can't live without you, blah 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 blah, right? And someone can only take so much of that until they're tired too. And
Yeah.
I think we were both guilty of beating each other down in ways that we knew would hurt the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I regret doing that. That was
Mm-hmm.
nice. I don't feel good about who I am. And he's not the only one I've done it to. I've probably done it to every man I've ever
Mm-hmm.
dated
Mm-hmm.
because of the fear of I'm going to leave you before you leave me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Makes
And I'm going to get
sense.
out of here before you, because my dad left
Mm-hmm.
my mom. He had an affair with his secretary, and my mom waited around the whole time my dad was in and out of incarceration and then things like that. And then in my head, it's like, oh, wait, when you're the wife and you're loyal and you show up every day, you don't get the man in the end. The
Uh-huh.
mistress does, who does
Uh,
nothing.
uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And so in my brain, I was like, well, any day of the week, I'd prefer to be the mistress, meaning I didn't go out and date married men. But the fact is who wants to be the wife doing all that crap and you get nothing for it?
Right.
Like, and so that was how I started my dating stuff
Right.
out.
Right.
And
And I can see
then
that.
only recently, after going through my separation and doing lots of work and of course in years in therapy, I know my part. And I know, so for me, when I left that situation, I made sure to clean my side of the street where I left that home exactly how I found it.
Mm-hmm.
I apologized. For my part in it, did I receive an apology back? No, but I wasn't expecting one back.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, I apologized for in which ways, and I apologized more than once. And I left there with my head high. I'm still very upset over it, but I left there with my head high and proud of the way I left that
Mhm.
situation.
Mhm.
Because I don't want to be taken out of my character and cussing. And growing up the way I saw
Exactly.
my dad do my mom, I don't want to do that, and that's not who I am deep down.
Of
So
course.
I also think it's just as important, if you're going to leave a relationship, how you're going to walk away from that relationship.
Right, right. And that's where I struggled back in the day. Or, when you don't have a healthy relationships to look at and model from when you're a
Mm-hmm.
kid, you have to figure it out
Yeah.
as you go, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
it's been helpful as I've gotten older to sort of notice the ones that are healthy and then sort of think,
Mm-hmm.
well, what would these people do in this situation? But that's
Totally.
that's been a more recent revelation. But
Right.
in my relationships in the past, I was the one I dated a runner for 5 years, and
Ah, that's
and
hard, right?
so hard. But
Yeah.
she never did leave until she really left. But
Mm-hmm.
so my thing was always we'd have this dynamic of her always trying to pull away and give me ultimatums and threaten that. And me, I came from a household of our family always very passionately worked through everything. But, it's like you could scream, you could, but you just don't stop until things are settled. So I was never
Ah,
giving her a break. I was just coming in like this, like, let's figure it out now, 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 now. We have to talk it
yeah.
to death and figure it out now. And she was
Yes.
like, I can't take this, I'm gonna leave. And so we had this horrible dynamic of we couldn't sort of come back to center. So when she left, it very much confused me. I was like, well, but I thought that you're supposed to stay and you're supposed to work
Mm-hmm.
through things, but I wasn't doing it in a healthy way. And that's what I didn't recognize is that nope, you got to give people space to do their thing and figure their side out. Just like I want space to
Yes.
figure it out and communicate kindly, not just push your point, push your point.
Yes, to be
Because I'm
right
very I'm
instead
very
of being
guilty. I was
happy.
very guilty of
Yes.
that because I always was taking control of things and I thought, this is what I'm supposed to do in my
And
brain.
for a runner, that's the worst thing because
Right.
we hate being controlled.
Yes,
And
and
then
she
our
did.
fear
And
of
I
being
don't blame
controlled.
her.
Totally, I get that.
I
I
was
and
very
the
difficult.
yeah, and the one thing
Yeah.
in my marriage is he would refuse to have conversations when he was mad,
See,
and he would
that's equally
stonewall
hard.
me.
That's
It's
what she would do, and
it's
it would drive me
fucking
crazy. It would,
abusive. It's
right.
stonewalling, and it's not nice. But then my experience is also too is that I need to do whatever it takes to calm my anxieties. So then,
Mm-hmm.
therefore, if someone's not ready to talk, I didn't care at those times because I had to do whatever it took to calm my anxiety. So I wasn't caring how you were feeling, and I couldn't hear that or receive that
Mm-hmm.
because I was like, the anxiousness and the oh
Right.
my god, I can't sleep, and the gut rot and the everything. So then I literally would be in someone's face and not respecting any of it. And
Mm-hmm.
so I've had to learn that
Yeah.
too.
And
And
she
so
would
but
turn
I
and scream at me too and get violent and
uh-huh.
it started getting physical with those because that's how
Oh
she would
boy.
turn and that was the only way she knew how to like probably get me to stop talking.
Yeah.
But, God bless. But, it's equally hard when someone stonewalls you because her answer was to walk away but never come back and sort it. It was just like
Mm-hmm.
sex to her was a way of reconnecting and getting that closeness back. And for me, you can't touch me if we ain't worked through this. That don't work. So it was just this
See,
impossible, to me, I
yes,
have to have the communication. You can take your time to go away, but give me
yes,
like, okay, let's come back to this tomorrow evening, even or whatever. And let's look
uh-huh.
at it again then and gently. And if we haven't worked through it by then, we'll take another day. But don't tell me that you're just walking away from it and now you want sex.
Totally. Oh, yes. And then it's
No,
like, wait, what?
no.
No, ew, stop. Like
Right.
it can be so like imagine I was ignored for 9 months out of nowhere. One day I was just he stopped talking to me. Just
Mm-hmm.
stopped talking to me. And he wouldn't tell me why. And I had to learn in those moments. That was more part of my growth because you know what? Here we go.
Uh-oh.
It was like, you're okay. This is where I always try to tell people, no matter what you give in this world, you get back, whether it's in a different form of makeup or not. So
Yeah.
I was working at this restaurant once, and this girl used to talk mad shit about me. So one day I just like, fuck her, I'm not talking to her. I ignored her for a year straight, no matter
Oh.
if she was there or like whatever. I just acted like she didn't exist, which now I know was very abusive and very mean. And
Mm-hmm.
look, I got it back
Mm-hmm.
for 9 months, close to a year, right?
Yeah.
From my actual husband.
Yeah.
And when I say there were times where I almost felt insane
Mm-hmm.
because I would literally be like, talk to me,
Ooh,
just
yeah.
talk to me. And you're in a tiny apartment, right? And so, but I didn't think that, imagine all of that resentment that must have built up for him to not want to talk for 9 months.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I'm just saying, I'm sure he had his reasons till this day. I still don't know why. And that is okay, because
Right.
I had to let go of the idea of any kind of closure
Right.
because I know I'll never get it. And that's okay. I'm not looking for it. So I want to ask you, the
Oh,
subtle change and the profound impact. Did it cut off? The
no.
subtle change in you were like, oh
I
shit,
was
a
going to talk
question.
about something else real quick.
Oh no, tell me real quick.
No, this brings up too. I've heard in my certain little friend groups here because we've been talking about dating and all this stuff and the five love languages
Uh-huh. It's a
and
good
how
book to read.
it's a great book, but this is where it gets a little squirrely because everybody's love languages can be different. But
Uh-huh.
like what I was just talking about here is some people's is physical touch, some people's is not. And when you get that
Oh,
mismatch
oh
and you have to
yeah.
then therefore start to work, I guess that's not
Yes.
dating, that's getting into
No, it
relationship
is
territory
though. It
though.
is
But
because
it's stuff to figure out.
I think it's a great question to ask in the beginning too.
Yeah.
Great point on your end.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm going to start doing that of like, because for me, Cameron knows, she's like, I know you, your love language is acts of service
Mm.
and kindness, right? So
Meaning
for
what you
me,
give or what you want
what meaning
because they're
like if
different
someone,
sometimes.
true, but if someone will give me something little to show me that they were just thinking of me,
Uh-huh.
oh my god, that is
Aw.
so incredible for me. That just makes me feel so good. It doesn't
Mm-hmm.
take a lot, just a
Mm-hmm.
little. um that definitely, Marco was not receptive to that, and that
Uh-huh.
is fine. But I give because I like to make people feel good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think it's important to have somebody who's also considerate for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so I think my subtle change and profound impact now also would be, I'm going to start asking people's love language before they go in. And I also think it's very important to have your list of, it's not like non-negotiables, but open door or closed door of like smoking, not smoking. Don't be ridiculous with the whole list, people, right?
Right.
But I want to ask you so that when we come
Uh-oh.
back, because I do think we will come back to this when we both have a partner. When you
I
close
like
your
that.
eyes, what do
Mm-hmm.
you see your partner looking like? Because I can visually feel what my partner feels like for me, but I can't quite get the face yet.
I can't get the face yet either, but I
Okay.
get the vibe of who she is. Somebody
Yeah, that's
creative
what.
in the
Mm-hmm.
in that sort of industry. Somebody
Likes
passionate,
horses.
likes horses,
Mm-hmm.
adventurous, right?
Okay. Yes.
Does well for herself. Like I don't want somebody who I'm just dragging along, and I don't want somebody to feel
Yes.
like they're dragging me along.
Yeah.
Somebody who loves family is a big deal for me
Mm-hmm.
too because I love my family and I'm
Family
like to spend
oriented.
time.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and
I
friends and
like these.
trusting. Like I want somebody to trust me to go out with my friends and know that I'm not gonna mess around on them, and I want to feel the same in return. That's not a physical.
Totally.
Sorry, that's not a
Totally.
physical, but
Well,
that's
and
all the vibe and all the everything I want. I want the freedom. I want them to feel free. I want to feel free.
yes. And
Right.
I
But I want us
also
to
want,
build things together. I want to build
yes.
a life together and build future,
Yes. And I also
homes.
want them independent of me, meaning that they
Right.
don't need me to complete
Yes.
their life and their things.
Amen.
Because I have my own interests and my own friends and my own stuff that I want
Yes.
to be able to do that. And
Yeah.
yes, if they come and they want to be a part of that, great. But I also do need time to myself. And that's okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's what I didn't recognize, as a more immature person
Mm-hmm.
dating. It's like
Yes.
before you learn how to really love spending time with yourself and find out what makes you happy. I'll speak for myself. When
Mm-hmm.
before I learned all this, I clung to those other people, and it was just devastating to me when I didn't get the affection returned the way I wanted to,
Yes.
or you know what I mean. And now, I mean, I haven't been able to put this in practice in a while, but now I just think I can take that with a little bit more of a grain of salt, and like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
that's okay. Let them
Yes.
go do that
And
today.
we both have never dated sober.
Oh Lord, that is true. Which I think is going to be a good thing because alcohol was a big problem.
Uh-huh.
I
Well,
mean,
and I think it's a good thing, but like another closed door for me is, and it's not any judgment, but I know for myself because I could be weak in this department. A lot of men say they love wine tasting. And I don't want to, I know, me
I
too,
love
but
it
I
so
just like,
much.
I
I know,
just
I know,
can't like it's just
I know.
challenging. And so I need it's just normal like when all the kids come over my house and stuff like that. I love the fact that my drinking has they've never seen it, they don't know it. It's just like a non-drinking
Right,
household. So
right.
when I go into a relationship, I don't want my alcohol to be like full focus because I'm not in AA or anything like that. It's
Right.
just a choice that I did to change my life and I
Same.
just don't drink.
Well, I like being an
And
example for the younger kids in my family coming up behind at this point. I wish I
oh
had done
yeah.
it earlier because I kind of feel bad that they grew up seeing, all of us partying all the time. And I'm like, this isn't setting a great example. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're doing the best we can in the climate that we're in. I think it is so important to, I know that people say, oh, don't rush, don't do this, don't do that. But I think at a certain age, you kind of know what you know, right? And it's like we don't have a lot of time to waste. But I think really for me, it's just more about being open. I'm just really going to allow myself to go off energy. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Of like the vibe that I get with this person, because I
same.
have looked over very good quality people because of my vanity, right?
Yeah,
Of like, you need to be a certain height, a certain this, a certain, I'm not desperate. I'm just more selective,
sure.
you
And
know?
I think that's okay too. You have criteria
Yes.
without them being over the top. Yes, I get that.
Yes.
Listen, I
And
know if I'm out there and if you're out there, then there's somebody out there also who,
yes, and
is
then
at a
we're
certain
gonna
level.
circle back to this video
Oh
when we
gosh.
both have our partners, and then we're gonna talk about the
Make them
whole thing and the
squirm
way
and
it
watch it.
happened. Yes. Well, and let everyone know that it actually works when you put good out there and you change what you want and you change the direction you're going. It is so powerful because that is where all the power is.
Mm-hmm.
All the power is in not responding, not getting down. Yes, sometimes you get tired, but get back up. Like, don't close yourself off to people. Don't close yourself off to situations. Like, I'm open to meeting someone at a market, meeting someone through someone's kids, meeting someone through a
Mm-hmm.
friend. Like I'm just here I am, bring him on, right?
Yes.
And
Like
so
George Michael said, you got to get up to get down.
the ooh, Wayne, yes, I like it. So there we have it. It's like
Yay!
dating. If anyone would like to come and talk about dating, right?
Yes. Yes. I want to hear
Email
your
us.
stories. We want to hear your
Yes.
stories. Email us
Yes, we
at
do.
litnnguest@gmail.com.
Yes. And comment below if you like this or what you would
Yeah.
like to talk about in some of the videos.
Yes. We love
Yay, yay,
hearing what
yay.
topics you want us to chat about. That's a great point. So,
Totally.
yes.
So looking forward
Looking
to
forward
giving
to it.
dating stories.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you.
All right. Thank
See you
you,
next
Ashley.
time.
Okay. Ciao.
Ciao.
Ciao for now.